The galaxy had expected panic. Instead, the chamber was silent. Bodies of the assassins still floated slowly in the zero-gravity aftermath of the attack, drifting like broken puppets beneath the enormous glass dome. Emergency lights painted everything crimson. At the center of it all stood Ambassador Ilana of Kylar. Tall, still, terrifying. Her obsidian skin reflected the flashing lights like polished black stone. The ceremonial combat mantle still hung across her shoulders, exposing the powerful muscles of her arms and back. Her golden slit pupil eyes were not looking at the dead mercenaries, they were studying the human. Standing beside her, Stephen Halston. Human male, unarmored, brown hair slightly disheveled, calm expression. His jacket was torn where the rifle round had struck earlier, revealing faint old scars across his ribs, pale lines that hinted at a life of violence. He was breathing normally, like nothing had happened. Ilana found that fascinating. The council chamber was filled with beings who had spent their entire evolutionary history hiding from predators. And right now they were all staring at the true predators in the room. Emergency drones buzzed in, security forces arrived seconds later, weapons raised, scanning the chamber. Then they froze, because the scene made no sense. The assassins, elite mercenaries in powered armor, had been neutralized. Every one of them, and the only person standing in the center of the chaos was a human wearing a simple security harness. One of the council delegates finally found their voice, a thin avian species named Director Hashari. "You stopped them?" Stephen shrugged slightly. "They tried to kill the ambassador." The alien blinked. "That does not answer the question." Stephen looked around the floating bodies. "I think it does." Ilana smiled. It was the same sharp, dangerous smile that had made half the council species avoid eye contact with her. Except now. They were not looking at her. They were looking at him. A predator recognizes another. Later, in Ilana's private chamber, the station's artificial gravity had been restored. The ambassador stood beside the panoramic viewport. Outside, the stars stretched endlessly across the void. Her tall frame was silhouetted against the galaxy. She still wore the ceremonial mantle. Her claws rested lightly on the glass. Behind her, Stephen leaned casually against a wall. He looked completely comfortable. Ilana turned slowly. "You caught the projectile?" Stephen nodded. "Yes." She narrowed her golden eyes. "That weapon was a magnetic hammer round. It travels faster than sound. Most species cannot even see it." Stephen shrugged again. "I saw it." "You caught it?" "Yes." Silence filled the room. Ilana stepped closer, towering over him. Her species was taller, stronger, built for gravity, heavier than most worlds. Up close, her presence felt like standing beside a wild predator. But Stephen didn't step back. He didn't stiffen. He didn't react at all. Her pupils narrowed with interest. "You are stronger than you appear." "Most humans are." That answer made her pause. The realization. Ilana walked slowly around him, studying. She noticed details she had missed before. The balance in his stance. The way his eyes constantly scanned the room without appearing to move. The quiet tension in his muscles. This was not the body language of a civilian. This was something else. "You are not merely security," she said. Stephen didn't deny it. "Former military." "What kind?" "Special operations." Ilana let out a soft clicking laugh. The sound echoed like stone tapping stone. "Your species hides its predators very well." Stephen finally smiled slightly. "Your species doesn't bother hiding them." Her golden eyes glowed. "That is because we want our enemies to see them." The council's response. 3 hours later, the emergency council meeting began. Every species representative had arrived. The chamber was full. But the atmosphere had changed, because now there were 2 Deathworld predators standing at the ambassador's side. Ilana in her combat mantle. Stephen beside her in a simple suit. The contrast was absurd and terrifying. Director Hashari cleared his throat. The assassination attempt was clearly coordinated. Holographic displays appeared above the chamber. Images of the attackers rotated slowly. Mercenaries, professional killers. But the most disturbing detail was the insignia on their armor. Ilana's eyes narrowed. That symbol belongs to the Scar Dominion. The chamber erupted into whispers. The Scar Dominion were not pirates. They were an empire, a brutal one. Director Hashari's voice trembled. They claimed the attack was a misunderstanding. Stephen snorted quietly. Ilana tilted her head. A misunderstanding that required 12 armored killers? Hashari swallowed. They insist they had no knowledge of the attack. Stephen spoke for the first time in the meeting. Then someone wanted the ambassador dead badly enough to start a war. The room fell silent. Because the human had just spoken the truth everyone else was avoiding. The second threat. Then the station alarm sounded again. A deep warning tone echoed through the chamber. A hologram appeared in the center of the room. Dozens of ships emerging from hyperspace. Ilana studied the image. Her eyes sharpened instantly. Scar battle fleet. Gasps rippled through the council. The Scar had not sent assassins. They had sent an invasion. The moment everything changed. Delegates began shouting. Security forces panicked. The station had defenses, but not enough to face a fleet. Ilana remained perfectly still. Stephen leaned closer to the hologram. How many ships? 32, a technician whispered. Stephen nodded. Big ones. Yes. Another pause. Then Stephen asked a question that confused everyone. Do they know I'm here? The room went quiet. Ilana looked at him slowly. Why would that matter? Stephen smiled faintly. Because Earth has treaties. Hashari blinked. With whom? Stephen pointed at Ilana. With her. Ilana's golden eyes widened slightly. Kalar and Earth signed a mutual defense pact last cycle. The room froze. Director Hashari whispered, You are saying Earth will intervene? Stephen reached up and touched the small device at his ear. He spoke calmly. Control. This is Halston. A pause. Then a voice answered through the communicator. Go ahead. Stephen looked up at the massive viewport where the Scar fleet was approaching. You might want to bring the cavalry. Earth arrives. At first, nothing happened. Then space itself split open. Warp signatures exploded across the sensor grid. One ship, then 5, then 20, then hundreds. Human warships emerged like steel predators pouring into the system. Unlike alien vessels designed for beauty or elegance, these ships looked brutal, functional, covered in scars from previous wars, weapons mounted everywhere. The Scar fleet slowed, then stopped. The council chamber watched in stunned silence. The human fleet didn't fire. They simply surrounded the station. Stephen folded his arms. They'll leave. Ilana tilted her head. You sound confident. They've seen our ships before. The Scar fleet turned and retreated. The aftermath. Hours later, the council station was quiet again. Diplomats were still trying to process what had happened. But Ilana stood once more beside the viewport, watching the human fleet depart. Stephen joined her. You didn't know Earth would respond that fast, she said. No, he admitted, but humans are stubborn. She studied him. You risked war. Stephen shrugged. Protecting my client. Her eyes narrowed. You call me a client? That's the job. Ilana turned fully toward him, the stars reflected in her golden eyes. No, she said softly. You are more than a bodyguard. Stephen raised an eyebrow. What am I then? Ilana smiled again, a dangerous predator's smile. You are proof. Proof of what? That the galaxy has misunderstood humans. Stephen chuckled. That happens a lot. She stepped closer, towering over him. 2 Deathworld predators standing side by side. Tell me something, Stephen Halston. Yes? If the Scar fleet had attacked, would you have fought them? Stephen looked at the stars, then back at her. Of course. With what army? He tapped his chest lightly. Start with me. Ilana laughed, a deep, dangerous sound. For the first time since leaving Kalar, she felt at home. Because standing beside her was a predator who understood the same universal law she had grown up with. Strength recognized strength, and the galaxy was finally starting to realize something terrifying. The most dangerous alliance in the universe had just formed, a Kalari Deathworld ambassador, and the human who guarded her back,